right. Well, welcome to another episode of Get Your Head in the Game podcast. I am Dr. Jenna Ross, your host. I am a certified mental performance consultant and a licensed associate mental health counselor. And on this podcast, we talk all things mindset, mental health, and sports related. And so today I have a very special guest, Kevin Jimenez. He is a D1 collegiate athlete at New Mexico State University, playing baseball, has been there his entire college career and went straight out of high school to play at the university. And so we are excited to have you on today to kind of tell us what it's like, being in it. You are walking through it. You've walked through it for the past 4 or 5 years of being at that level. And so I know your own experience is going to be definitely beneficial to share with other high school athletes and even junior college athletes that want to get to that level. So thank you.
No, thank you. I'm excited. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so definitely. So tell me, what's it kind of been like for you starting off, transitioning from high school? Well, let me back that up for a second. When did you know that you wanted to play baseball in college?
In college, that definitely had to be. I mean, I love baseball since I was a little kid. Like, that's the only sport I started to play once I started, turning 12, 13, 14. But I think it had to be once my freshman year, once like I got a taste of a freshman playing on varsity and knowing how, it's you got to compete and it's going to be tough. But I think once I was there, I was like, I think I really want to pursue my chances of playing Division I college baseball, and I was able to do that.
So even from a young age, you kind of knew, at 12, 13 years old, it kind of started at that age.
Yeah, yeah, just the love for the game and just being able to play with all my friends. Just because Nogales is just a very baseball community, so
Mm-hmm.
I felt like I was just all of us were all there having fun, and it just kind of carried on into high school and then here to New Mexico State.
Wow. Okay. So definitely having that love for the game. That's awesome. And I think that's so important for younger athletes to realize, like, you really do have to have that passion and
Yeah.
that love for it to keep you going. Was there ever any struggles in your high school career that you can remember with the sport or just in life in general?
For me, I'm a smaller kid and I'm not like this big 6'3", your typical, draft prospect. So I feel like I've had to work my way from being the small skinny kid to, being able to compete with these bigger guys. And throughout high school was a challenge, the weight room, school, focusing on baseball, going to tournaments, all that kind of stuff. Like obviously it plays, a big part in your mentals. And I felt that once I was able to figure out what I was struggling with and finding a way to, fix it, that it was helping me just how to explain, just continue to grow, as a baseball player and as a, person throughout high school.
Yeah, absolutely. So you kind of realized that maybe you weren't physically the same stature as what
Mm,
a typical baseball player would be.
yeah.
Um, okay, and working hard to overcome that. Um, do you feel like you had support around you, or what kind of helped you with overcoming that?
Yeah, I have had so much support with my family, coaches, friends, teammates, just in general. I mean, I've had a lot of people, that have been in my corner and have had my back, and they know it's tough. Like I know it's tough. Baseball is a hard game. You failed 3 times out of 10. Like that's just not something that's success worthy.
Hmm.
And just being able to just overcome struggles and being able to find that that point in your life or in your head that you're gonna just go out there and compete and just go out there and find a way to prove yourself.
Hmm. Absolutely. What would you say during that time was your motivation?
My motivation was trying to get just trying to get some a scholarship offer to play college ball anywhere. And at that time, like my goal was to play Division I, But at that time in my life, I was like, you know what? I just want to play college ball. Maybe that's a Division II, D1. It don't matter. Like I want to pursue my dreams of, playing college baseball and then possibly being a professional athlete. But just just having my family was probably the biggest thing through all that. They kept on pushing me, pushing me, pushing me, and I had to believe that in myself. And once I believed that, I knew that I could make it happen.
Wow, yeah, that's powerful, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
So talk to me then about what was the transition like going from the high school level up to D1? Because that's quite a jump. Some
Yeah.
people,
Mm-hmm.
will start at a junior college or but to go straight into that, what was that like?
When you transition to high school and college, like everybody on your team was the best player at their high school. So like for me, I got there and I was kind of just like, whoa, like everyone here is talented. We have depth. Now I gotta, increase my game because if I just continue going the way I did in high school, then I was just gonna be in trouble. So I knew I had to step my game up and being able to find myself mentally because in college baseball, with school, weight training at 6 in the morning, just with all that stuff, it just plays a big burden on your whole body. So being able to find yourself mentally just helped me, go out there and play freely physically and stuff like that.
Wow, yeah. I love what you said there. Everyone was the best player in their high school. So,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's a good point to in the way that you put that because it really means you have to step it up and you have to step
Mm-hmm.
up your game.
Yeah.
Um, and you mentioned finding that place mentally. What did that look like for you? Like, how did you finally, was it just this like I guess moment where you're like, man, I really got to do this, or was it kind of gradual that you
Mm-hmm.
you increased?
Yeah, I knew as a freshman, I was still, the smaller guy compared to other guys. And I struggled. Like, I struggled. And I just had to find myself mentally in a way like go back to a time where you were just the best player on that field. Try and find what you're feeling, what you're seeing, what you smelled. Just try and find that, that point where you're the man
Mhm.
and getting yourself back to that point right now.
Mm.
So that's one of the biggest things.
Yeah, that's very true. Using those moments, I think, and I've done that with athletes that I've worked with, is talking about their prior successes to kind of help build their confidence and where they're at
Mm-hmm.
now, because that can be, I mean, that can be a real confidence shaker to go
Yes.
from, being top dog in high school to now, like, I am at the bottom of the totem pole and
Mm-hmm.
have to work my way up. So,
Yeah.
yeah, that confidence piece, definitely it sounds like you found that for yourself
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
finding what your confidence was and here's your strengths and what you're good
Mm-hmm.
at. So what would you say for another athlete that's maybe like struggling with their confidence? Like what would you tell them?
Well, one of the things with struggling with confidence, like right now, our baseball team is struggling right now, and we're all trying to find that confidence. And it's always a good thing to go back to the basics, going back to where you had success, going back to the people that had helped you had success. Maybe that was a hitting coach back in the day or a teacher that just believed in you. Just going back to people who are in your corner and then just putting your head down and getting your work done. And just going from there.
I love that. Yeah, reminding yourself of those people who did pour into you.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely very powerful to do that.
Yeah.
And then the work, I think you said put your head down and work. And that's the other part, the flip side of that is,
Yeah.
you believe in yourself, but that's not going to carry you. You got to put in the work,
Exactly. No,
you know.
exactly. Yeah.
So combining those two things, I think,
Mm-hmm.
it could be helpful for some of these athletes listening right now. So throughout your college career, did you ever find yourself, struggling mentally, like mental health, maybe any depression, anxiety, anything like that happened for you?
Yeah, I've dealt with like people deal with things. I've dealt with things throughout my college career. My freshman year, I had a so-so fall going into the spring season. My head coach at the time was telling me that I was gonna redshirt, and I told him that, give me a shot, like I'll prove it to you, I'll keep working, give me a shot. He ended up giving me a shot, and as a freshman, I started about more than half of the games as a DH because I was able to hit from both sides and being able to, compete as a freshman and just having my head coach believing in me at that time. And the biggest one I feel like was after my junior year and after last year. After my junior year, I had an opportunity to go play professional ball as a free agent signing, but I told myself that I wanted to get my name called in the draft. So I wanted to come back, win a WAC championship here at New Mexico State, which I did, but then my name wasn't called again. So I knew then I just a lot of emotions going on through that time. But at the end of the day, life goes on. And if you sit and pout, like nothing's going to happen for you. So you got to continue going, continue moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, that's an incredible journey. And talking about, everyone does struggle. And I think that's what this is about
Mm-hmm.
is not making that okay, but that, it's real that does happen
Yes.
to people.
Mm-hmm.
And to keep going, like you said, not to let it deter you, or, sit there and dwell in it, rather take that and use it to propel you and to keep
Yes.
moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
So okay, so wanting to be kind of moving up to the next level and really seeing yourself with the potential and possibility to play professionally, like that. I mean, a lot of people would well, I think a lot of athletes would even hesitate to put that out there because like what happens if I don't do it?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So what was it in you that you're like, I'm going to start talking about this and I'm going to start putting it out there that this is what I want to do. I want to be drafted. And
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of what you envision for your professional sports career. Um, so I guess what was it that kind of like, I, I see this is where this is headed. And when did you realize you wanted to start kind of putting that out there and talking about it?
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely after last year. I mean, I felt like since COVID gave me an extra year, um, I knew that I had another opportunity to come back this year. But with the draft not happening again, there's just no time for me to keep my head down. I just gotta keep going. I just had to keep going, and I know it's out there, and I know people are gonna go through stuff. Athletes are gonna go through stuff where they're gonna want to quit. They're gonna want to, just give up. But we just got to keep going. I mean, that's the
Mm-hmm.
only way. It's life. I mean, and at the workplace, it's going to be the same thing, and we're just going to have to find a way to, deal with adversity and stuff like that.
Absolutely. Sounds like, you have a good head on your shoulders, but
Mm-hmm.
for other athletes, it really does take some of that mental toughness and that ability
Mm-hmm.
to push through the ups and the downs. Because like you said, it's not just in baseball, it's going to be in life too.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And
It's very true.
so, mhm. Wow. So super awesome and incredible, playing at that level.
Mm-hmm.
What is the stress level like? Like, do you ever feel overwhelmed, stressed? Like, I know, in college, right, you have not just baseball, you have academic work that you have to do.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So what's that like?
Being able, one of the main things or one of the main, the advice I would give is for schoolwork is just try and get that done as early as you can. Just because as athletes, all our extracurricular activities like games and stuff happen on the weekends. So if we wait to do our homework throughout the week, I mean, wait until the weekend, then we're just going to be so stressed with having to play, having to eat, just like you just put so much more, pressure on yourself throughout the week.
Mm,
But yeah, with that being said, just finding a routine is huge. Being able to find a routine throughout the week, with weights, homework, food, practice, just being able to balance everything in your life will release all that stress. And I feel like it'll have you going into the next day with a plan and being able to execute, your plan.
Wow. Yeah. Time management.
Yeah.
It's like
Mm-hmm.
having that time management, it's a hard thing to learn, and
Yeah.
it sounds like you've grasped it pretty well. So I guess for any athlete that wants to go and play D1, like what would you, I guess, what piece of advice, just overall, whether it's about stress or pressure or confidence, like kind of what piece of advice would you give to them?
Yeah, especially going through high school, like just a bunch of new things are happening all around you to your body, just so many things that the best advice is once you get into high school to get into that weight room because all these guys now are physical, they're big, they're throwing harder, they're hitting the balls farther. And if we could get a head start in high school with the weight room and with reading books, mental training and stuff like that. If I knew about all the mental training and stuff like that in high school, I feel like I would have been so much more prepared my freshman year and I have to have that little bump on the road,
Mhm.
coming into college. So being able to, get a head start on all that is just going to help you prepare when you first step on campus, wherever that may be.
Wow. Yeah, definitely. Preparation for that mentally and physically.
Mm-hmm.
And definitely, I think a lot of athletes will focus a lot on the physical, and but that's only as good as, the mental side of it. So I
Mm-hmm.
love that you brought in, training yourself mentally too,
Yeah.
and realizing that that is a part of it, especially for you in baseball. So much of the sport is failure. Like you said,
Yeah.
you only
Mm-hmm.
succeed 3 times out of 10. So what happens those 7 out of 10 times when you don't hit the ball,
Mm-hmm.
and how do you handle that, and how do you overcome that?
Yeah.
Okay, this is good information, and I love everything that you're sharing. Um, I mean, I think it's just so valuable for that D1 athlete or that high school athlete that wants to play at that level to
Mm-hmm.
begin envisioning it. So any kind of last words that you want to say or share with anybody, any athlete that's listening?
Um, we all go through things as athletes and as people, there's a lot of things in our life that we just can't control. And sometimes when we let things that we can't control get into our heads, then that's when we just lose ourselves. We just
Mm.
lose ourselves and start worrying about things that we shouldn't be worrying about instead of worrying about the right things. And for me, I just feel like the biggest thing for me in life, my like motto in life since I was in high school has always been control the things that you can control. Like I couldn't control the MLB draft or the people selecting. Like I can't control that. The only thing I can control is my play and the way I react after that, and see how people see me react to situations like that. So yeah, so that's what I got.
I love that. That is
Yeah.
so, I mean, that's something, I spend a lot of time training athletes on, but to hear it from you,
Yes. Mm-hmm.
it is just like, yeah, like that's exactly it. That's exactly what, an athlete to kind of train that focus and to
Yes.
put
Mm-hmm.
things into perspective.
Exactly.
So yeah, definitely thank you for sharing that. Well, this has been super awesome and I think very helpful. I will definitely be sharing this on my podcast on my
Mm-hmm.
YouTube channel, and
Oh, nice.
just like to thank you for
No,
being
thank
a
you.
guest on here and for having Mike from CAA recommend you. I think he
Yeah.
did he
Mm-hmm.
did a good job with selecting you for this.
Yeah, he's a
So
good dude. He's a good dude. He's helped my family a lot. He's a
yeah.
good. Mm.
Yeah, so he definitely made a good selection with you. You had a lot of good words to say and a lot of good wisdom to share with the younger generation
Appreciate it.
coming up. So thank you. Thank you for everything.
Thank you. I appreciate it.